Alright, what's going on, everyone? So we have another teaser. I've made a video about these in the past. I really like these. These are really cool. Mark Rosewater does this little teaser article every time a new set is coming out. It's really cool. Really like that Mark Rosewater puts this out just because it's fun to look through and try to guess what's going to happen, even if we have no clue. And the things are designed to be very generic and hard to guess. So yeah, we don't know. But also have like a million tabs. So we have a lot to talk about. So first off, we have a white card that draws 3 cards. That's pretty crazy. They are trying to fix white, first off. They're trying to fix white and its inability to draw cards. But of course, that will be like a white way of drawing cards. So probably based on like attacking, like if you have 5 attacking creatures, draw 3 or something like that. And we've seen that with like red. For example, this is a red card draw. It draws 3 cards, right? Red's not supposed to draw 3 cards. But the catch is, it's not an expensive creature. It gets cheaper based on spells, which red likes. And also you have to discard your hand. Makes sense for red. I'm going to close these as I go because there's so many. A risk factor also technically draws 3 cards. The catch is you don't control whether you draw 3 or you deal damage, which is what red does. So makes sense. Green also has draw 3 cards. You might not think, well, you used to not think that green could draw cards, although recently green's kind of the best at everything, but whatever. But it also draws 3 cards, but it's on a massive creature. So you would expect the draw 3 cards card for white to be something that white does. So maybe like controlling a bunch of creatures or attacking with a bunch of creatures, something like that. We have a planeswalker you know, but not as you know them. So I have a couple of predictions here. One is it could be the Wanderer. Do we know who this is? We still don't know who this is, right? I don't necessarily like 100% keep up with the story, but I don't think we know who this is. So maybe it's the Wanderer. Maybe we're finally going to figure out who they are. Do they look like they're from Strixhaven? I don't know. We also have, it could be something like this, right? Like technically this is Tybalt, but this is Tybalt in a way that we don't know. So this planeswalker you know, but not as you know them. Could be something like that. Could also just be a color shifted planeswalker, right? Like a traditionally red planeswalker that's going to be black in this set, something like that, right? Could be something along those lines. We also have a card featuring Paulo Damo de Rosa, so he is the World Championship winner. And if you're not familiar, in the past, Wizards of the Coast used to have these player invitationals, and the winners of those would get to design a card, and they would be depicted on the card. They stopped doing that, but they recently restarted it with World Championships. So the last one was Javier Dominguez. He won the 2018 World Championship with Mono Red Aggro. He designed a Mono Red Aggro card, and this is him on the card. Kind of looks like him, kind of, sort of. So yeah, we would expect, assuming that they follow this, Javier Dominguez won with Mono Red Aggro, and they designed a Mono Red Aggro card. Paulo won with a blue-white control deck. It's very similar to the Azorius control Challenger deck. He won with like Dream Trawler and Archon of Sun's Grace and stuff like that. So potentially a blue-white control card with him on it in some way, potentially. Next we have a spell with 3 X's in its mana cost. We've had something similar like this. This has 3 X's. So yeah, it could be something along those lines. Who knows? Can't really predict anything here. Next is introduction of a new Evergreen Keyword. This one's really interesting. So if you don't know what an Evergreen Keyword is, an Evergreen Keyword is a keyword that's used basically in any set. So think of things like flying, right? Flying, haste, hexproof, lifelink, reach, you know, these basic abilities that can be on any creature at any time. So there's other abilities that are set specific. Like we just got out of Kaldheim, or we're still in Kaldheim, and we have like Boast and Foretell, and those are specific to Kaldheim. So it's not likely that we will see those outside of Kaldheim, or if we do, it'll be like a long time from now. And apparently we have a new Evergreen Keyword. I would expect that it's not going to be anything too crazy, but rather it's going to be an ability that already exists that's being given a word. A good example of that is Mill. So Mill is technically a new keyword. It started in Core Set 2021. Obviously, milling is old. It's always existed since since antiquities apparently. But it was given a keyword in Core 2021. So potentially it's going to be something like that, but we don't know. We have a new Evergreen Keyword. It's going to be a new keyword that can be in any set. So that's a thing. Next, we have a red sorcery that you can have as many copies in your deck as you want. So we have a few examples of that. We have all of these, right? Persistent Partitioners, you can have any number of those. The rats, Relentless Rats, and Rat Colony can have any number of those. Shadowborn Apostle, a little bit less popular, but also you can have any number of them. So what's interesting is all of these get more powerful as you have more of them. That's kind of the idea. That's why you can play any number of them, is that if you have, like, the more you have, the more powerful they get. I don't know how that works with a, where are we? With a red sorcery, because, you know, it's a sorcery, right? So it either has to count the number you have in your graveyard, right? Like, you play one, then it'll count how many you have in your graveyard, and that's how it gets more powerful with multiple copies. Or it gives you some kind of counter, like it's a burn spell that gives you a counter, and then the next burn spell will have extra damage based on the number of counters you have. So the more you play, the more powerful the burn spell gets, something like that. Next, this one also very weird. We have some weird stuff happening. We have a future shifted card. Now, if you don't know what future shifted cards are, let me give you an idea here, guys. Future shifted cards are cards from Future Sight that have this really weird border, and they were very, very weird cards. Like, Limp Sliver has an ability that's never been printed on any other card ever, right? It has Absorb 1. So the whole point of these future shifted cards was that they were actually supposed to be cards from the future. They could print a card as a future shifted card that shows Emrakul breaking out of the moon of Innistrad. We know Emrakul is in the moon of Innistrad, so they could print a future shifted card that shows it escaping, but it hasn't actually happened yet, right? That's the idea of these future shifted cards, is they could be like lore future shifted from a lore perspective, but also they use these future shifted cards to print stuff that was going to come up in future sets. A good example was like where's that black card, like Delve basically got introduced with as a future shifted ability, and then it got printed in Concept Arc here. Where's the black? Where's black? Delve, where are you? You're here, Delve. This was the first time Delve had been printed, and then it became an actual ability. So the abilities were really weird. Like this thing, right? Artifact Fortification. It fortifies a land. Very weird. And when the set came out, when Future Sight came out, we had no freaking clue if this was actually going to become a thing, or if this was just like a red herring. And Future Sight cards were actually used by us as the community to predict like what the next sets were going to be. Like, we were looking at all these future shifted cards, there's tons of them, and we're like, is this going to be relevant in the future sets? You know, we'd have like a whole list of them, and we'd have no clue like which ones of these, like we didn't know if we are going to go to like this sort of set. Like, was this a sign that we were going to this world and like a year from now, or was it just like a red herring? And we didn't know, and that was really cool. It was a really cool thing. Steam Flogger Boss, really popular classic example, does weird stuff, and we just didn't know which ones were hints at future sets and which ones were just red herrings trying to throw us off, making weird abilities just to mess with us. A classic example though of one that was true was Graven Cairns. This was a really weird card. It had a hybrid symbol that added these double like all this mana. Really weird, and literally like a year later, less than a year later, it ended up being a real thing and a real cycle. This was a real cycle that happened, right? And this happened later after they hinted at it with a Future Sight. So the Future Sight stuff was really cool if you were around. It was really interesting. And apparently we're getting just one future shifted card. I don't know what that means. Maybe it could be like something that I would imagine would be like, imagine a card that just shows like a Phyrexian army, right? We are pretty confident that the Phyrexians are coming up, right? We had the Vorinclex and Kaldheim. There are some kind of spoilers of another Praetor on Strixhaven, so it's very possible that we're going to see some like future shifted Phyrexian invasion type of card, and that's going to be hinting at what's coming up with the Phyrexian stuff. Maybe, we don't know. Next, we have a double face card with the same card type on both sides that hasn't been printed before. So we've had creatures, right? This is a creature, a werewolf that transforms into a creature. We've had lands that transform into lands. We've also had like creatures that go into lands and enchantments that go into lands. But this has to be the same on both sides. So it has to be like an enchantment on both sides, or a planeswalker on both sides. I've seen a lot of people saying planeswalker, but it could be enchantments, could be artifacts. We've had artifact flip cards in Kaldheim, but they were creatures that go into artifacts, not the artifacts on both sides. I don't think we've had that. If it is a planeswalker, I have a couple things. So first off, Jace would be perfect for a double face card, just because he's kind of known for like duplicating himself. He has the amnesia too, right? He's been having the whole amnesia thing. So you can have two versions of Jace where he's just like, you don't know which version you're getting, because that's kind of part of Jace's thing. My more far-fetched, probably not happening prediction is Angrath. I don't think this is gonna happen. I just thought it was funny. Angrath, a flip Angrath where one side he's trying to be all like calm for Strixhaven, right? He's trying to blend in on Strixhaven and try to appear scholarly, but on the flip side, he's his normal, very angry self. I don't think this is likely. I would put this at the very, very, very unlikely category, but I don't know. I just thought I'd mention it. Next, we have a card sharing something that's never been shared before. I have no freaking clue what this even means. I just don't know how to interpret this. Maybe I'm just not reading it correctly. Am I not? I don't know. Guys, let me know. What do you think? Because I don't know. I don't know what to say about this one. Next, we have a cycle of enemy dual lands, finishing off a 10-land cycle. So the biggest hope, I think, is the cycling lands, right? We have the cycling lands, which are these ones from Amonkhet. They were 2 colors and they could be cycled for 2. We have allied colors, right? We have 5 of them, allied colors. We don't have enemy colors. So that's probably the best hope for most people, although there are the much worse battle lands as well. These are also, we only have allied colors, and we could get enemy colors of these, and these ones are not so great. Not super excited about these. So hopefully cycling lands, but both of those are a possibility. Then we have some snippets of text. First, we have search your library and graveyard for up to 4 creature cards with different names. That could be anything. Don't really have any prediction here. We have otherwise put a study counter on it. That's interesting. I did wonder, I was wondering if this could be similar to level up study counters. So if you're not familiar with level up, the idea behind these is that it was kind of replicating the RPG elements of Dungeons and Dragons. Fun fact, the original Zendikar set was actually kind of modeled after Dungeons and Dragons. And the way these worked is that you would pay the level up cost, put a level counter on it, and then the number of level counters just, gave extra abilities and all kinds of stuff. Hey, look, it's the guy from our intro. Isn't that fancy? So yeah, that's what those are. So neat. Maybe something like that. Next, we have whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger. So this is very common, or it's becoming more and more common. Panharmonicon, right? Doubles triggered abilities. Ancient Green Warden also, if a land does it, it doubles abilities. We also have Yarok, which also doubles abilities. So we have some, Teza triggers on death triggers instead of entering the battlefield triggers. This is whenever a permanent enters the battlefield, causes a triggered ability. So that would be Yarok. Yarok does that. Panharmonicon doesn't trigger on permanents, it's artifact and creatures, which are permanents, but does a trigger on enchantments, and this triggers on land. So getting something similar to these doubling trigger things. That's all we know. Have no clue. We'll see. We'll see when we get it. Next we have, where are we again? I always forget where we are. We have untap each creature you control, then tap any number of creatures you control. What the heck? What's this doing? This is really freaking weird. So you get to untap all your creatures, and then you can tap any number of them. But why though? I mean, obviously there are cards that trigger like whenever a creature you control becomes tapped. So maybe, but like that's such a weird thing. I have no clue. So we'll just move on. But that's interesting. Don't really know what to think about that. We have pay 10 life. Don't know, but it better be a big thing because paying 10 life is a lot of life. So we'll see what comes with that. We have repeat this process 6 more times. Again, don't know what this is gonna do. Why is it specifically 6? We have pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders. That's just a piece of text on a card. There are a couple lands that are similar to this. We have Animal Sanctuary that puts a counter on a variety of creatures, right? We also have Swarm Yard, which is from Original Time Spiral, convenient timing. Also, it regenerates insects, rats, spiders, and squirrels. Interesting combination there. So yeah, I don't know again what this could mean, but we have pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders. It does indicate that those things are going to be in the set. Could be like a more darker, more spookier version of Animal Sanctuary, right? This is all cute. Look at these things; they're so freaking adorable. And now we're gonna get the more spoopy one. I don't know. Each mode must target a different player. So what's interesting about this is it sounds like a commander card, of course, right? Because you have to target different players, so having more players means more targets. What I imagine this card's going to look like is it's going to have like 4 modes, right? 2 of them are going to be positive and 2 of them are going to be negative. So if you're playing 2-player, right? If you're playing in standard, like you might have, let's say, for example, it's like target player draws a card, target player gains 5 life, target player discards a card, target player loses 5 life. So obviously you want to target yourself with the positive ones and target your opponent with the negative ones. So you're choosing like, do I just want to deal 5, gain 5? Do I want to draw and make them lose 5? Do I want to draw and make them discard, right? Like, that's the dynamic of the 2-player version, whereas in Commander, there's the politicking there where you're like, oh, I'll give you 2 the bad one, and I'll give this guy the good one, right? Like, so that's my prediction. My prediction is 2 good abilities, 2 bad abilities, so there's an element of choice in 2-player games in Standard, but it can also be used for politics in Commander. We have whenever an opponent activates ability that isn't a mana ability, so probably something that's going to punish the opponent for activating abilities or give you a bonus, you know, like you gain a life, or they lose 1 and you gain 1 whenever they activate something. Could be a sign that there's going to be lots of activated abilities, because that's going to be very narrow, like it's not going to be playable, right? At best, that's like a sideboard card. Maybe it is like designed to be a sideboard card, but this is a sideboard card at best, unless there's lots of activated abilities in the set. We have where X is the number of cards in your library. We have a few cards like this. Ironically, Animate Library, it's a silver bordered card, but it seems like a Strixhaven card. Has power and toughness equal to number of cards. We have stuff like Consuming Aberration also has the number of like power equal to the number of cards, power and toughness. So this isn't too uncommon. It does exist. What's that Kraken? Isn't there a Kraken that does that? I don't see it here. Hang on. Here it is. I'll backspawn. It's not worded the same. It gets +4/+8 as long as a library has 20 or fewer cards in it. So similar. No, if it has power and toughness, it's not phrased where X is the number. So it's probably a spell, right? Like deal damage to a player where X is the number of cards or something like that, right? Yeah, I would think so. I would think it'd be a spell or something that like adds counters to something. But yeah, library counting always annoying, but and paper anyway, so that's a thing. We'll see where that goes. And then finally, we'll just brush over this. We have creature types. We have a turtle druid. I'm already excited for that. Bird warlock, sure. We have a frog wizard. Seems appropriate for a set like Strixhaven. We have a spirit dwarf. We do know that the Boros Lorehold school cares about spirits, so spirit dwarf, probably a Boros Lorehold card. We have a troll druid. We have an eye bat. I don't even know. Like, okay, so no, that's confirmation actually. There are bats. I mean, we kind of predicted that with the card up here with the pests and the snakes and the, you know, this stuff. So we get an eye bat. Interesting. We have a vampire warlock. That's 2 warlocks. Maybe instead of the Zendikar Rising tribes, when we get into the Forgotten Realms D&D set, warlocks are going to be a thing instead of wizards. Is that possible? We have orc shaman, we have dryad druid, and we have a legendary construct. I actually brought this up. Traxos was a legendary construct, so we have another legendary construct. So that's the teaser. Unfortunately, you guys will actually, it says here, they're going to find out answers to some. So they're going to give us previews on March 25th, which this video might be out after that. Wait, what's today's date? No. Wait, yes. Wait, no. Wait, this video. Okay, so look, guys. So behind, I have, wait, it's 12:30. My video's already up. Well, I had a video go up like an hour ago, and this video is going to go up Tuesday. So if you're watching this the day that this releases, 2 days from now, that this stream is happening, we'll find out some more information. So neat. I'm glad this is going to go up before that date. Nice. I thought this was sooner. I thought this stream was happening like a couple days from now, and this video is going to go up after. So yeah, there you go, guys. I don't know why I'm still rambling. This gets me more excited for Strixhaven than the first lesson article. I'll say that. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any different predictions, and I will see you in the next one.